Peace, family. Peace, 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 peace. All right. I hope you guys are having a phenomenal night, day, depending on wherever you are. Honey, do understand that the stars are available, okay? And you can send some stars, okay? Because I like me some money, okay? All right. I wanted to come on here real quick to talk about emotional intelligence. And it's so funny because a few years ago, ignorance is really something. And a few years ago, if somebody would have asked me, what is emotional intelligence, I probably would not have known, okay? Or probably couldn't, put it into words. I probably would have said, dealing with emotions or whatever it is. But I wanted to do a video because, what's so interesting is it's funny because I turned the TV on and I was, watching a movie or so, and is off now. The TV is off, and I went on to YouTube and I was, looking at different videos and stuff, and I had came across Dr. Ivan. I think Dr. Ivan, I don't remember his last name, but this doctor, this physician, he talks about pathologies and, things of that nature, why we tend to do some of the things that we do. And I was like really intrigued because he was talking about emotional intelligence, and also he was saying some people think, emotional intelligence and law of attraction don't go together, but they very well so do. And as I was watching his TED talk, one of the things he started talking about was, the subconscious. You guys know, I talk about the Howard. I'm not putting you up here because for some reason, every time I bring you to the camera, my live ends. I don't know if you be pressing the bring on camera by accident, but today's a no-go, okay? Lesson learned, all right? So I was watching Dr. Irvin and, as he was giving his speech on TED Talks, and he talked about emotional intelligence and how our emotions has everything to do with what we attract, right? And how, so I'm just going to give you guys, the definition that I have received from, watching videos and stuff like that. So emotional intelligence is the ability to identify your emotions and others. And also emotional intelligence is, your emotions and having empathy for other people as well. And sort of seeing their perspective. One of the things I'm going to highly say is getting to know myself, right? And we have heard this saying from, so long ago, right? Know thyself, right? When I know myself and I'm getting to know myself more and more each day, some of the things I could see, like why people do some of the stuff that they do. And I'm not saying I'm perfect and I'm holier than thou, okay? But what I am saying is when I could see something. So earlier I was on my channel, okay, Dina Bryant, and I had did a video about ghosting people, right? And in that video, it pretty much went like, instead of you ghosting a guy, right? Sometimes you're going to have to muster up the courage and tell the person you're not interested in them. Now, I'm not saying I did this all the time, right? Because there's definitely times where I gave people my number and then, I ghost them or whatever, or I put them on block, right? After they sent me a text or whatever it is. And I think a lot of that has to do with wanting to be liked, wanting to be foolish, right? Because nice actually is derived from Latin, which means foolish. And just not willing to reject, Right? Now, granted, okay, I'm not saying that, anybody that asks for my number, I just give it out. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I said before, if there's like a little potential I see, then I may give my number out. But what I started understanding, and I started going within, see, the whole thing is you have to go within. Emotional intelligence, you are aware. You start seeing why you do things, why you feel the way you feel. You express yourself in a healthy manner, okay? You know how to express yourself. You don't suppress your emotions, okay? And so one of the reasons why I would do it was because, and I did a video of this, what was it, yesterday? And as I was doing the video, one of the things that I started asking myself was, now some of you guys had heard this video, had heard me say this, so, bear with me, okay? One of the things because I talk to myself, I don't know about whoever else out there, and if you guys watching my live, most likely you talk to yourself too, okay? But I asked myself, and it was so funny, in the middle of me doing a video for YouTube, one of the things I started saying was, well, Dina, why do you give the guys your number if you think that there's no chance, right, for them? And you know what came up? Fear of rejection. That's what came up. Fear of rejection. Not fear of them feeling rejected, but more so, because, listen, we are all reflectors of one another. So, one, I give my number out because I want to be nice. Okay, that's one. Subconsciously. Two is, after I get them the number, okay, then I send them a message because I have this battle within myself. 1 second, because I'm about to give you something. 1 second. Let me go use the bathroom first. 1 second. Okay. All right. So, all right. So where was I, right? I said I'm about to give you guys some juice on this, right? Listen, whenever you are aware, okay, it's not a such thing as you can turn it off. Let me say that again. Whenever you are aware, you can't turn awareness off. Okay, once you become aware of some of the things that you tend to do, you can't turn it off. You start asking yourself questions because you want to get down to the nitty gritty. Okay, like we used to say back in the day, nitty gritty. You want to get down to the cause of things, like why you tend to do. I don't know about the next person, but I find it very fascinating. Hey, Pascal. Peace here. Hey, Michael. Hey, M. Hey, Stevie. Hey, Gina. Hey, El Toro. Peace here, baby. Anybody else, honey? I can't see you. But you want to get to the nitty gritty of things, okay? And I remember once upon a time ago, I would call people to see if what I was doing, if it was right. Like, I couldn't think for myself, right? And, I would call people to, to be on my side, to justify, whatever it is that, I decided to do. And, I wanted to be liked so much. And so what some may be like, well, what the hell does this have to do with emotional intelligence? What it has to do with, it has everything to do with emotional intelligence, because let me tell you something. The reason why you get the results and everything that you tend to get is because of your emotions. See, your emotions, when you are doing things, it is from your consciousness. Okay? Your consciousness is you react to things or whatever. The subconscious mind is the part of you where as though it could come up with a solution. It could come up with a better idea, a better remedy or something, right? And so I was, thinking back when I would react to things, right? And when you don't have no emotional intelligence, and especially for our black men, okay, because it's funny, because I was even watching a video earlier today on someone else's profile page, and it was of Anthony Anderson, the actor, and he was telling this kid in a movie, like, you don't supposed to cry. You're not supposed to show your emotions. We don't get to do that. And it's so unhealthy. It's so unhealthy. And that has a lot to do with why you may not be manifesting what you say you want to manifest. Even in my scenario, what I said, I would give a guy my number and stuff like that, and then later on get home and say, now, girl, it'll be a part of me that's like, girl, is no potential. So in the beginning, what I would tend to do was I would settle, right? So I believe like it's stages, right? In the beginning, I may have settled because of fear, didn't want to be alone, and, all these different things. And then when I see that I can't change the guy or make the guy out to what I feel he should be, isn't that crazy? You start dating someone, you see that they're not what you normally would date, right? Or you see that they're not what you probably looking for. But because of the impatience, because of what society say, oh, you're supposed to be married at this age, have kids and all this other stuff, or because of you so in a rush, you tend to settle. And then when you get in a relationship with the person, you see that you cannot make them into this ideal person that you have for yourself, this image of this person that you have for yourself. And then you take the frustration out on the person. So that was a lesson learned that I, started learning, like, oh, okay, wait, hold on. No. We're not settling. Okay. We're patient. And the more I started enjoying time with myself, the more I could not be so in a rush. Or so needy, right? The needy energy and all this other stuff. That's why you may wind up what you wind up with, because if you needy, you're going to miss all the red flags. You're going to miss everything, because your whole mindset is, I need to hurry up, get in a relationship in order for me to, 1, feel complete, 2, for someone to love me, 3, for somebody to do the things that I feel as though I cannot do for myself. Okay. And then what tends to happen is all illusions. It's all illusions. Because nobody can do more for you what you can do for yourself. So I started going through all of this and asking myself these questions, like, why do you do it? And then it came up, fear of rejection. Fear of rejection. Subconsciously. Or I get them the number because in the back of my mind is, well, what if I see somebody and I like, and, then they reject me? Fear rejection. And so how do you deal with this, right? Like, how do you deal with the emotional intelligence? Like, how do you become aware? You become aware of it. Because, and, some people have this, this thing where awareness is so bad. No, awareness is very good because awareness is going to change your goddamn life. Okay? Awareness. If you're not aware of why you do what you do, you're going to keep on doing and getting those same exact results. Like attract, like in this here universe. I know some people say, opposites attract. I don't know about that. But what I do know is like attracts like. Whatever it is that you are in harmony with, that's what you attracting. That's what you attracting. And so it's funny because instead of, me watching something, I'm more intrigued about how could I get better results? Okay? Because one of the things that I do understand from life is in order for you to get better results, you have to become better. You have to become different. If you don't believe me, look at your life and see, how your life is going. You could look at your life and see, do I like the results I'm getting? I mean, and if you don't, you do something different. But for so many, we tend to feel like something is coming to save us, that, somebody else is sort of pulling the strings, okay? That is not our fault why we tend to attract what we attract. It's just, somebody is just, you ask the average person, they just like, they blame it on whatever it is that they blame it on. But what I had to start doing was taking accountability. And so real quick. So when I was on my YouTube page, and it was so fascinating because at times I get some pushback, and it was this guy that I told you guys about who was saying another toxic female, right? Because I was talking about go instead of ghosting them, let them know that you're not interested, because instead of stringing somebody along, right, you at least let them know that you're not interested. And some may say, well, you should let them know in the beginning. Honey, didn't I just tell your ass there's stages to this? Okay. But I had to find out why I tend to give the number, why I tend to give my number, even though, right? Why do I do it? And I had to go within and start saying, oh, you do it because fear of rejection. And I know some may be like, but you just said that, they not your type. Not them, not somebody that I may like, right? Fear of rejection of that person. And you know what's so crazy? Oh, but before I get into that, so the guy said, I'm toxic, another toxic female. And, so this is why it pays to start doing work on yourself and start understanding exactly how you are, and because once you know yourself, you know other people. Okay. Some people say psychic abilities. Once you know yourself, you can start understanding why people do some of the things that they do. Empathy. You can start, looking at it. Oh, they do that because it is, because of fear or whatever it is, because you too know that you used to do the same exact shit. Right? And so what I said to him, I said, in order for you to say I'm toxic, it has to be something within yourself that is relatable, because you keep on getting it misconstrued and saying, no, or taking it personal when somebody says certain things. No. At times is what people could point out what they are in harmony with. Okay. They could point out, they could point out why people tend to do some of the things that they do, because they too do some of the stuff themselves, right? And so even with the tax thing, with my children's father, I'm not going to get into that, but I started, saying, all right, I sort of get it, right? I sort of get, and you know what's also crazy, because sometimes when you growing through stuff, it's like a part of you still want to be attached to the pain, the resentment. It's like a part of you still, because you know why? Because that's familiar. You've been doing it so long that it's familiar to you. And then to feel something different, like to let go of the resentment, let go of the pain, you start asking yourself stuff like, like, should I really be, feeling empathy or sympathy? Should I really let go? Shouldn't I still be angry and upset? Because some part of you feel like you letting yourself down if you let go of that resentment. And that's not. That's really the ego. That's really the ego. That is, the forced self. The forced self that is telling you, hold on to this due to belief systems. And you may even hear people say, maybe somebody did something to you. You may hear somebody, you may be like, well, I forgave them. And somebody may say to you, you forgave them after what they done did. Right? Because it just shows that maybe they wouldn't ever forgave them. Right? So, I really wanted to come on here real quick to talk about the emotional intelligence and to say, if you really want your life to change, what I tend to do is study. Study. Whether it's this book, okay, or this book, okay. This book is written, I done wrote all in this book, and this is The Power of the Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy. Okay, that's all I do. Study, because I do know, and I believe wholeheartedly, okay, that if I want my life to be better, then I have to do something that I never done before. When people are successful, is a part of them that they have to face. They have to face themselves. Okay? They have to face the fears. They have to face, the culture, their culture, the part, that you will never be a man. Let me share this with you guys before I hurry up and get off here. So a lot of you guys know my backstory, right? That I was, when I was 12 years old, I was, in a youth house, all of that, right? Then went to an all-girls home, because my father passed away when I was in the youth house. So I had nowhere to go, okay? Because, my mother's side of the family was basically like, they wasn't getting involved because, I was selling drugs. They didn't know who I was affiliated with, and they just didn't want that headache, which I can understand that. And so once, where was I going with this? Honey, I done lost my damn train of thought. Oh, gosh. Okay, back to it. I got it. So once, I had, now it was some correction officers that I was cool with, right? When I was, in the youth house and stuff like that. And I remember this one guy correction officer. And man was real cool, right? We would talk, we was real cool. And I remember, I seen him a few years ago, right? Well, actually, I seen him after I graduated from the all-girls home, which was out in the suburbs. And I'm grateful for that program because that I didn't understand that neither. But me being in a different surroundings, it really changed my perspective. It really started, I started questioning, and I started thinking like, damn, I started being around different things. Okay, now it was, predominantly all white. But I started being around different things, and the houses and everything was, so beautiful, the mansions. And I remember being in a program, and the staff, they would take us, sometimes on these drives and let us see like these beautiful mansions and stuff like that. And before then, I never seen the mansion or anything like that, from the projects. Okay. And so I didn't appreciate it then because I didn't understand it. But as I got older, I started understanding why certain things had to take place. Okay. Whatever it is that you growing through, ask why. Ask why. Okay? Because it will be revealed to you. Like I told you guys when I was, doing a video on YouTube and why do you tend to do that? It was revealed to me why. Okay? So ask why. Your subconscious mind knows a whole lot. Okay? Okay? So ask why. And what you can do is meditate. Okay? Now you guys know I talk about meditation a lot. You can meditate and find out why you tend to do some of the things you do. Okay? And so, afterwards, me going through the program and stuff like that, and, I was in, I guess that would be Morris County or whatever, I was there. And then afterwards, I came back to Jersey City, okay, where I'm from. And so, the guy who I'm talking about, the correction officer, I haven't seen him in like so long, right? And then I seen him a few times afterwards. I asked him, did he know any places that was hiring? This was now I'm in, St. Joseph's transitional housing, right? So I could, when you get these downloads and these aha moments of why you needed to go through some of the things that you went through so you can teach. And I'm not talking about teaching in the aspect of math or whatever. I'm talking about teach from my life experiences. I'm talking about letting somebody else know, like, you're going to be good. Right? That's what I'm talking about when I say teach. And so, I remember, me and, this correction officer, he later on became a sheriff. And he started working for Port Authority. And I remember one day, we was, I think it was through Instagram or we was talking on the phone. I forgot exactly how. And, I'm there telling him, my dreams and stuff. I'm like, yeah, because I'm going to be a millionaire. This when I first started doing these inspirational, talks on the internet, like on Facebook, right? And I would do Instagram sometimes and stuff like that. And I'm near telling him, and I'm like, I'm going to be a millionaire. And it got silent. Like, it was like, it was like real quiet. And then a part of me was like, damn, he must don't believe it. Right? And so it doesn't matter if they believe it. When I said you're going to have to go against the culture, and what I mean by that is your culture sometimes will hold you back. Now, I know some people may not like it, but I don't give two shits. Okay. Your culture may hold you back, right? Like, say, you working on yourself. Sometimes you reading and stuff like that. What you read and you think you better and all this other stuff, or you become a millionaire and then people, you think you all that because you're a millionaire. Like, it's so much. And sometimes you have to go, you have to approach, like, no, even when I talk about wealth and rich and stuff like that, some people, and it's mainly people of color, okay? It's people of color who I hear this from. Oh, rich. You're talking about riches and even manifestation. You're talking about manifestation. That's demonic. I said demonic. You are manifesting each and every day. Whether you know that or not, I don't know what to say. But each and every day you manifesting. Now the question becomes, do you like what you're manifesting? But each and every day you manifesting. You manifesting the life that you have. You manifesting the clothes that you wear, the job that you have, the car that you drive. Everything in your life is a manifestation of how you perceive yourself to be. Is a manifestation. Before it is manifested into the physical realm, it started already in the spiritual realm. Okay, so for somebody to say, oh, manifestation is bad, honey, you manifesting already. Okay, and so back to my point, emotional intelligence, it goes hand in hand with law of attraction. Okay, it goes hand in hand with law of attraction, because emotional intelligence is basically the conscious and the subconscious, and whatever it is, when you react, because I used to be very reactive to certain things. You know why? Because I didn't know myself. That's why. When people would say certain things to me, I would react. When people would say, oh, when I was younger, oh, I look like a dog, and all these all these different things, I was ugly and all this other stuff, I would react. The reason being was because I didn't know who the hell I was. And so, it's like, well, I'm going to show them exactly how could you show somebody, they already perceive how you look, okay? Because before somebody could tell you something, right, they have that going on within themselves. Okay, so if somebody calling you ugly, you fat, you whatever it is, honey, now you may be a little overweight, okay, but before somebody could tell you like these things, what it is within them. You can't speak about something that you have no clue of what you're talking about. Okay, you can't. How can somebody say you ugly as hell? Okay, how can somebody say, if you don't feel that way about yourself, you will not say that about somebody else. When I started learning this, when I started doing the work on myself, because I told you guys, I used to be a big gossiper. I used to gossip about everybody. If these eyes seen your ass, honey, I was gossiping about you. And that just came because I didn't like who I was. I didn't like my life. I didn't like what was going on in my life. So what I tend to do was, I didn't want to face my reality. Okay. And what was given was I would watch a lot of reality shows. Why? Because I don't want to face my reality. So I'm a turn away from my reality, so I thought, and then I'm gonna start watching reality about somebody else's life and, things of that nature, because I didn't want to face what was going on with me. See, we tend to do things and get sidetracked because oftentimes we don't want to face ourselves. You tend to do things, whether, some people have a whole lot of sex, and it's called vices, right? You may have a whole lot of sex with different females. I remember I even met this passenger, who was from Jamaica. And actually his mother, well, he was half Jamaican and I think American. And his mother lived in Jamaica. And she had got caught. I met this passenger when I was doing Uber, and his mother had got caught, selling drugs, got caught with kilos of drugs. And I remember me and him was talking, and not bad looking at all, right? And me and him was talking, and I remember he was, telling me the story of, certain things that was going on, and I was able to say, why he would do some of the things he would do. Like, he was saying, like, he would mess with different women and stuff like that. And I said, you got abandonment issues. And then that's when he started telling me about his mother, how his mother was, incarcerated and all this other stuff. And, how he grew up with his grandmother in Jamaica and then later on came to America and stuff like that. But, it's so powerful. And it's just so fascinating that how much power we have. And when you really start studying yourself, when you really start studying yourself, how you could make connections, or you can see why some people do some of the things they do. Due to you studying you. Because we are all reflectors of one another. When somebody is pissing you off, right, it's something within you that they are reflecting back to you. It's something in you. Like when the whole situation with my baby daddy, right, my youngest children's father, it was something back he was reflecting within me. So when people do stuff to you and is able to trigger you in such a way, emotional intelligence. Ask yourself, why is it triggering you? Why? Oftentimes it goes back to childhood. It goes back to childhood. What was said, and and if you don't know how to deal with your emotion, now I ain't perfect. Okay, I tell you guys, I'm learning. Okay, I'm learning, right? But it's very important that we learn how to deal with our emotions. But because if not, guess what? People become in control of us. If you don't know how to, you don't know how to deal with your emotions, people become in control of you. They start preying, so to speak, on you. Because they know that, you don't, sometimes you so oblivious to everything, right? And sometimes it feels like gaslighting. But the truth of the matter is because you don't know how to deal with your emotions. But if you start asking yourself these questions, why do I do what I do? Okay? Why do I get into those relationships I get into? Why do I tend to work at these type of jobs whereas though the person, I remember I was honey, I hated working at jobs. Okay, now I'm gonna be very transparent. I hated working for somebody else. I hated being on somebody else's time. I hated it. Okay, but because society said, if you don't work for somebody else and all this other stuff, the programming, if you don't work for somebody else, that means you lazy and all this other stuff, because they done brought into a system, and most of the time they don't even like their jobs neither. And I remember I was working at this job, this hardware store. And it was a assistant store manager who was there. And it just seemed like he always had an issue with me. Like, I don't know what it was. Maybe because I wasn't giving him attention. But it always seemed like he had an issue with me. And I remember I brought it to the store manager attention. And I said, I'm sick of him, like, cause, one day, and it's some people that are not, good with somebody telling them what to do. Okay. Like on job, I'm one of those people, like when it comes to like being on job, somebody telling me what time to come in and all this other stuff. Like I'm not for that. Okay. But whatever. So, I remember, I brought it to the store manager attention, and I remember he would say, the assistant store manager, he would say stuff to me, and I remember I was like, this one particular day, we was fixing like the front of the store and putting like the cleaning supplies and everything there, and I remember he was like talk to me like I was a little ass kid. And you know where that stems from? Because we oftentimes attract what we are in harmony with, right? And maybe if you don't forgive the person, right, that's probably mean, who was mean to you, who, probably will belittle you or whatever it is, you start attracting them in different places, sometimes in your workspace. And the reason being is because you have all that energy and probably that animosity towards the person when you was a child. So guess what? Whatever you give energy to, and you're doing it subconsciously, right? Whatever you give energy to, that's what you constantly get, right? Emotions, energy, emotion. So I was, he talked to me like a little ass kid, talking about some, Dina, move over there. Right. And I was really hurt. He really hurt. I really was hurt my feelings. And I remember I had like tears coming down. Of course, I ain't let him see it. But I went to the store manager and I complained about him. And one of the things, and this is why I say attention, he must be wanted. So when I brought him, when the store manager, called us, after I went to the office and told the store manager exactly, how I felt. And this is another thing, because the way people do one thing, that's how they do everything. See, you be in your feelings and you like, no, they just do that. They just pick on me. It's like they have targets, right? Whatever you are in harmony with, right? You become the target, and it's familiar. So sometimes it's like, because maybe your mama yelled at you or, used to talk to you a certain type of way, you may have a boss that talk to you just like your mama used to talk to you, because it's like, it's familiar, right? And so I remember I went to the office and he came in the office and stuff like that. And the store manager, basically was, telling him what I had said and stuff like that. And he basically denied it. Like he basically said, I've been doing work. He said he was doing work on himself, and, all the work he been doing on himself is not gonna, I'm basically not gonna come and just take away like all the work. Cause basically, I guess he was saying like he's done changed tremendously. And what I'm trying to make him out to be, it was completely forced, and it was a lie. Right. And, later on, it was like, he was better. He was better. And I never forget. I never forget. Okay. And he was a white guy, and the store manager was a white guy. And I'm not gonna, it's not about race. Okay. It's about, because when you get past people culture, people are generally the same. Okay. And so afterwards, he was cool. So I don't know if the store manager needed to talk to him, like to make him aware, or, for me to, see, like, listen, I see what you're doing. Okay. And you ain't gonna talk to me like that. Okay. But I was so afraid. I was so afraid to get fired. Hate it. Goddamn working for somebody else. Hated it. Okay. I absolutely positive, because it always felt like it was something else within me. I couldn't, pinpoint it or put my mind to it, before, but it just seemed like something was off. It seemed like the money wasn't motivating me no more, because when you're working and stuff like that, you get a certain amount. And then after that amount, after you know how much they gonna pay you, sometimes it don't motivate you no more, because you see all the shit that you gotta do and put up with, right? And it just felt like it was something, like I had something else within me. If somebody asked me at that time, like, honey, I had no clue. In fact, if somebody would have told me a few years ago that I would be making videos, honey, I would have looked at them and started laughing. Or if somebody would have said, oh, you're going to be talking about law of attraction. Honey, I didn't even know what the hell law of attraction was. Okay? I didn't know anything about energy, vibration, frequency. I didn't know nothing about meditation. I was so ignorant when it came to this. I didn't know about me creating my reality through my perception. I knew nothing about this. This all came from studying. It all came from being around like-minded individuals. It all came from me wanting more from life. And when I start understanding, in order for you to want more, and I know, when I say want is scarcity lack, but in order for you to, let's say, desire more, you gotta do some things different. I often say the universe don't give a damn if you cry, you bitch, whine, moan. It does not care. You're going to keep on getting exactly what you've been getting. Why? Because you're the same. You're the same. And you're not going to get anything different. How you going to get something different if you still the same exact person? You just change your clothes. And you still have them thoughts. You're not good enough. You still have, you don't deserve it. You still have all those ideologies within you that people done said to you. And if you're not doing the work on yourself, honey, your reality is based upon somebody else's perception. That's what your reality is going to be based upon. Someone else's perception. And so when you start, I know, when you start dealing with yourself and facing yourself, I'm not going to be on here saying, oh, it's the easiest thing. I'm not going to say it's the easiest thing, but it's worth it. It's worth it. Because, honey, sometimes you're going to be by yourself, okay? Sometimes you're going to be by yourself. Sometimes, you're gonna have to face stuff that you thought that you done healed. Definitely, some things that I face, damn, I thought I was over this. And it shows right back, it shows up. And then what I tend to do is start working on myself. Where's this coming from? Start asking myself questions. Why I'm growing through this. And, all these different things. And I come up with the answer. The answer is available. You just not seeking. Or you thinking that the answer is going to come from, I don't know. But you're not seeking. So I'm not here to tell anybody what to believe, because you believe what works for you. This is what works for me. Okay? But if it's a part of you that feels like you don't like the way your life or the direction your life is going in, sometimes you got to keep growing through it in order for you to see this not it. In order for you to start creating boundaries. In order for you to start tightening up those boundaries I said about myself. Right? In order for you to start seeing that I deserve better. I deserve better. See, sometimes you in relationships, and sometimes the people you're in the relationships with, they just showing back to you, reflecting back to you. You don't think you deserve better. That's why you keep settling. They just reflecting that back to you. And you're not going to get better until you start, like I said, I started saying, oh, fear of rejection. And guess what? See, you think that by you doing the same, you're gonna get something different. That's insane. Now, the universe will test you. Okay, it's so funny because earlier I said the universe will test you and I got tested. The universe will test you. So, it's for me to see, say the next guy, when I'm walking or something, ask for my number. No. Right? And then when you start getting, I like to say, the frogs out the way, and this is not like the way they look, but when you start getting the frogs out the way, then that's when you're going to attract the person that you with. That's when you're going to attract that person. But as long as the frogs is in the way, how you going to attract something different if you still entertaining and giving that person energy? You're not. So with that being said, family, I love you guys. I love you. Make sure you guys share this video. Make sure you believe in yourself. Know it's possible. Whatever it is, start getting to know thyself, because it's power in it. Okay? When you start, looking at your emotions and becoming aware of your emotions, you don't be so reactive. Right? The way I used to be, oh, honey. Oh, gosh, the way I used to be compared to now. Whew. Oh, and I'm not saying that person not, buried down, okay? But the way I used to be, definitely, honey. And I think that all goes back to fear. Fear of being hurt. We often say we don't trust people, but the real thing is we don't trust ourselves to see when things are showing us exactly what it is, the red flags or whatever it is, to trust our intuition, right? And so I'm so grateful. Like, I'm grateful for every part of my life. Everything that I've gone through, I'm grateful for it. Because if it's not for that, honey, I would not be able to tell you guys some of the stories that I tell you guys. But I'm very fortunate and I'm very grateful for it all. And so with that being said, I catch you guys on the next one. Peace.